Okay, so welcome everyone. I want to thank you for all being here. I'm Mr. Brokus. I'm a math teacher at the high school, and we're also going to be joined today by Mr. Shepler, who is one of our history teachers at the high school, one of my colleagues. He is going to be handling the chat mainly while I am presenting. So down at the bottom, in your options bar, you should see an option for chat. You may need to click the More button with the 3 dots, and it might come up through there as well. While I'm explaining any of the features that we're going to be discussing today, if you have any questions and you want to just type them into that chat, you should be able to do that, and Mr. Shepler will be there to answer your questions as you are bringing them to him. And of course, as we're working throughout the session, I will make sure to leave time for questions for anyone that might have them throughout that time as well. So again, welcome. Thank you for being here. We wanted to host these sessions because we know that given the certain circumstances that we're in right now with school, a lot of parents and other members of the community are a little bit less familiar with how to navigate Zoom and the meetings and how to operate Canvas. We know that up at the high school, we've been using it for a few years now, and even at the middle school, they have a couple years experience with Canvas. But we know it's brand new down at the elementary. So we want to make sure that everyone is getting a bit of a crash course here to start, so that way we're all able to provide and help support our kids both in the school and at home. So the first thing I want to show you guys is if you have any questions after this meeting, what you're going to be able to do to try and help alleviate some of those questions is to go to our school district website and access the SSD Tech Help page. Mr. Shepler is going to be throwing in that document into the chat so that you're able to see it. And then I am also going to be sharing my screen so that we can see what that looks like and how you can get to that page. Can everyone see my screen now? I just shared it for the desktop. Jennifer, I see that you have a question, Jennifer McKee, or your hand is up. Do you have a question that you would like to ask? Okay. All right, so hopefully you guys can see my screen right now. It's at the desktop. The first thing you want to do to access this page is go to our school website, the Susquehanna School District website. It's just susq.k12.pa.us. Okay. From there, you want to go to this top taskbar and hover over schools. That'll bring you to a drop-down menu, and you want to click Blended Cyber School. Okay, so this Blended Cyber School page offers a couple of different options for you to choose from. One of which is the fourth one down. It says Family Student Technology Support. Okay, so this offers you a brief look into the options you have from this page. One of which is to access this document here, Family and Student Technology Directions and Tips. Okay, so if you click that, it'll take you to another window. And within that, you have a Google Doc that has a slew of different links for you to be able to access for various different areas of the technology that we utilize within the district. Okay, so there are some things related directly to iPad use, showing video, how to request apps, how to repair your iPad if you're having issues with that. Links to Notability, all right, which is an app that we use on the iPads to complete assignments. That's something that we're going to dive into a little bit today. Canvas, that is going to be the bulk of our discussion today, all right, working through Canvas, both as a parent, what your student sees, your expectations through that, how you're going to be able to support them. Okay, so if you have any questions after this meeting, you should be able to access any of these documents, and that will allow you to get a get some additional help and brush up on that stuff as well. There's also a couple things related strictly to some technology that the elementary teachers use, such as Clever and Seesaw. We're not going to be discussing that much today, if at all, simply because I don't have much experience with it, so I can't really share a whole lot of insight. If you do have any questions related to Clever or Seesaw, I would recommend discussing that with your elementary school teachers, should you have any inquiries about that. And then lastly, if you are having any issues and none of these links are able to provide you with insight to anything that you're working with, okay, one thing you can do is go to the help desk, email helpdesk@susq.k12.pa.us. By filling that out and sending a summary of the issue that you're having, that email gets pushed out to each member of our technology team in the district, and they'll be able to better provide you with some assistance. Okay, so before we move on, are there any questions related to anything with this document, how to access it, or any of the links? Feel free to type into the chat or unmute yourself and ask your question. Okay, sounds great. So from there, we're going to move into Zoom. Okay, so Zoom is new for this year as a way for teachers to continue to meet with students that are choosing to learn remotely, all right, or anytime if our situation at school would require us to go to a hybrid learning model or a remote learning model, all right, Zoom is going to be used as a way for your teachers to still connect with your students through video and help continue to bring the education to them wherever they are. So I'm going to discuss a couple things about Zoom, all right, regarding a couple of the basic guidelines we expect from the students and how we can go about helping them to keep those guidelines. So the first thing I'm going to touch on is virtual backgrounds. With Zoom, the district has asked, and you can actually see this with Mr. Shepler and myself, our backgrounds. We have the virtual background set up. The district has asked that all teachers and any students participating in Zoom meetings utilize a virtual background. Part of that reason is to allow for people to have a sense of privacy within their own home. All right, so that way we don't have to worry about, seeing anything that maybe people don't want to share or anything inappropriate that might tend to happen. So the first thing I'm going to show you guys is how to access the virtual backgrounds. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is there's a link that I believe Mr. Shepler is going to post or may have already posted that gives you directions on how to utilize the virtual backgrounds, okay? So the page looks like this, all right? And the first thing you want to do, this first link on this page, takes you to a folder on Google Drive called Zoom Virtual Backgrounds. And that's going to bring up all of the approved backgrounds that the district has filled in for us. Some of them are just solid color. Some of them have the Susquehanna School logo and maybe even the name of the school above them. Okay, so from here, what I'm actually going to do is flip my share to my iPad. So that way you guys can see how your students are going to be able to share and download this to their iPad.
I don't really want to know.
Okay, so can everyone see my iPad screen? Okay, so from here, I'm going to go back to that same page we were just at, that Google Drive page. Just remember where I left it. Okay, so here's the directions for the virtual backgrounds. I'm going to go back to this link of the folder in Google Drive that provides you with all of the different backgrounds. Okay, now you're going to want to make sure that you're doing this from your student's iPad, because they're going to have to download this photo, whichever background they select, and make sure it's on their device so that way they can upload it. So your student's going to be able to select the background they want. So let's say they choose this one. From there, you're going to want to save it to their photos. And something you can do for that is if you just touch the picture and press it, the option will come up for them to be able to save it to their camera roll. Okay, so right from there, if you just touch it with your finger, hold it for a second or two, this message will pop up and it'll give you the opportunity to save it to your camera roll. You may need to allow access to photos. Just press OK. Okay, so from there, this JPEG, this background will be saved to your camera roll. Okay, and then from there, if you go back to, I'm going to flip back to my screen, my desktop on my computer. And I'm actually going to, okay, so from there, if you go back in, you're going to be able to see the option where if you click your video, you should see an option that says virtual background. Okay, and from there, you're going to be able to upload that photo, and it actually should probably already have that background available as an option now that it's been saved to your photos. Okay, and then they can select that and be able to have their virtual background utilized, all right, throughout their meeting. All right, and that's something that's going to be able to be saved, all right, throughout the entire time. All right, you'll have all the different virtual backgrounds and that'll save. So that's not something that they're going to have to do every single time either. Okay, any questions on choosing the virtual background? I am. Let me see. Okay.
We're just fixing some technical difficulties here, folks, so that your screens move along with his.
All right, sorry about that, guys. For some reason, my Zoom screen's not showing up to be able to show you guys specifically how to add that in. But it's a pretty easy process. Once the student saves the photo to their device, all right, when they go into a meeting, all right, they're under their option to stop video, you should see an arrow that they can click. And one of the options in that menu is choose virtual background. Click that and it should come up for them to be able to choose that background. Again, we like to have those virtual backgrounds. That's a district guideline just to provide that sense of privacy between school and home. So that is a requirement. So please make sure that your students have that. I know this week, the high school teachers have already started doing meetings with remote learners, and a lot of the students already have them ready to go. So just make sure that that's something that you're doing if that is going to apply to your student. A couple other quick features related to Zoom that we're asking students to follow. There is this chat feature, again, that you're utilizing to ask questions. Teachers and students will be able to chat between one another. However, students will not be able to chat directly from one another privately, just to kind of cut down on any distractions that they may have during any lessons. We are requiring that videos stay on for students, so that way we can see that they are present during the meeting. We want to make sure that they're seated at an appropriate spot. Okay, so not just having their video on, but sitting out of the camera window, so that way we can't see them. We want to make sure they're seated, just like if they were at a desk in school, sitting up, concentrating on whatever's going on during the meeting. We want to make sure that their names are visible. A lot of the time, especially initially, when students log on for the first time in a Zoom meeting, what will pop up is the ID number for their iPad. So you're going to want to make sure that they change that. That's a pretty easy thing to fix. If you just click participants and then they click on their name and they find their name in the list of participants, click that, and an option should pop up for them to rename themselves. And they can just type in their name, first name, last name. That is really important because, especially for the remote learners, attendance to their weekly Zoom meetings is very important. All right, it's listed as part of their attendance requirement. It's a mandatory thing. So we use those names so that we know who is present during the meeting. That way we don't have to spend 10 minutes doing roll call throughout the meeting. If we can see their name, it's really simple for us to just pull up the participants list, snap a screenshot of that, so that way we can just see after we end the meeting who was present for it, and we can accurately track attendance. So make sure that they have their names listed there. And lastly, we do encourage you guys, if you're able to sit in on your students' Zoom meetings. However, we ask that you not sign in to those meetings on a separate device. Okay, we want to cut down on the number of people that are attending. Okay, so you are encouraged to go in. You can sit right beside them. All right, help facilitate their learning. All right, during the meeting. But we ask that you're not signing in on a separate device, whether it be your phone, iPad, or desktop. Just make sure that it's just your student signing into those meetings on their iPad. That is everything I have for Zoom and the expectations around that. Does anyone have any questions related to Zoom? Oh, yes. One more thing I wanted to share. We had this question in a previous session. Somebody asked if they needed an account, if their student needs an account to access the Zoom meetings. The answer is no. The way they're going to be able to access those is through Canvas, which I can show you guys when we get into Canvas in a few moments here. They're able to just find the link. The teacher should have it posted. I post it through modules, so I will show you guys what that looks like from my specific courses. But they will have the link within Canvas to go directly to the Zoom meeting. They don't have to create an account. One thing we do want to make sure that they have, though, is the Zoom app downloaded within their iPad. So make sure that's something that they can pull out. The Zoom app can be downloaded through self-service. They should have an app titled self-service. It looks like a tilted square with some multicolored corners around it. And then every app that is available for them to download through the district is in there. You want to find the Zoom Cloud Meetings. It's a blue background with a video camera logo on it. Make sure that that's downloaded if it's not already, because they will need that to access the meetings. But they do not need to create their own account, as they will just access those meeting links through Canvas. Any other questions? Okay, so we're going to move to Canvas. This is again going to be the bulk of the discussion, because Canvas is how your teachers are going to be distributing lessons, assignments, tests, and quizzes to their students. All right, that's going to be the primary way that you're going to be accessing your child's learning. So I'm going to be showing a couple of features of Canvas, and also how to go about seeing what Canvas looks like from various views, because there are some different options there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to share is how to pair a parent account to a student account, so that way you can observe your child's classes within Canvas. Okay, so to start out, what you're going to want to do is go to this website, okay, susquehanita.instructure.com. And I believe Mr. Shepler will be posting that link when he gets the chance. But this is where you want to go, all right? Because Canvas creates websites based on the name of the school, based on what school district is utilizing it. So it's a different name. So you want to make sure that you're using susquehanita.instructure.com to access the Susquehanita Canvas portal, okay? From here, if you are brand new to Canvas, have never made an account before, what you're going to use is the link in the top right here, parent of a Canvas user. You're going to click that and fill in the listed information to create an account. Okay, so your name, email, a password, and then down at the bottom, there's a fill-in option for a student pairing code. Your student pairing code is going to be a code that you can get from your student's account, and I can show you how they're going to be able to access this. It is a unique code for every student. So no two students have the same exact code. That way you're able to observe the specific students that you want. So while you're filling this out, if you want to access your student code, what you're going to do, and I'm going to share my iPad so I can show you guys how the students can access it from their iPad. Okay, so this is a test student account, all right, that I have set up through one of my courses, okay? So it's just one course that's showing right now, but to access the pairing code, your student is going to click the 3 lines up in the top left, and they're going to go to settings. Okay, that window is going to pop up, and we see the second option says pair with observer. When you click that, their unique pairing code is going to generate. Okay, so that's the code at the bottom of that create an account screen that you're going to want to be able to use, all right, to pair. And then from there, all right, I'm going to flip back. Okay, so actually one more time, let me just share that. Let me just show how you get that. So you click the 3 lines in the top left, you go to settings, and then the second option down, pair with observer, and that'll bring up the code. Now it says, you can see those 2 sentences up above, the code expires after 1 use or after 7 days, okay? So if something happens where it's not able to pair you right away, you're gonna have to make sure you go back and get the new code, because those don't get reused. So make sure you're getting that new code, because we've had some issues with pairing because we're not remembering to get those new codes. So make sure you do that. Okay, so once you get that code, I'm going to switch back to my desktop. Once you get that code, you've completed the rest of the sign up, enter the student parent code, and then you're going to click Start Participating. And that should create your account and send you into the Parent View Canvas course. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys in a moment what that looks like. Are there any questions related specifically to setting up that pairing code or setting up that new parent account? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like from the parent view. Okay, so once you click that start participating, it should kick you into this page. Okay, this is a test page, a test parent view page that we had created for these trainings to be able to show you guys the different features that you will have access to. Okay, so this is the browser version. I have accessed this through Google Chrome. You can access it through Safari, Firefox. All right, so this will be accessed through web browsers. All right, any web browser that you use is accessible. One thing we do want to mention, similar to the student Canvas app that students can access on their iPad, there is also a Canvas. My apologies, our bell just rang here. There is a Canvas parent app as well. The logo looks the same, except it's blue. Okay, that's available to be downloaded in the Apple Store or the Google Play Store for Androids. Okay, we do, however, recommend that you utilize the browser version of the parent view because we find that a lot of the app features are not things that you can really access. All right, there aren't a lot of good accessible features within the app. We find that the browser version has a lot of better features. It's more accessible. So while the app is there, we do recommend you use the web browser version. Okay. So before I get into too much, I imagine that some parents have multiple students within the district. So I'm going to show you guys how you can pair additional students if you're not sure how to do that already. So from this page, I'm going to click the account button at the top left, and that's going to push out a menu. And you're going to see this link that says observing. If you click that, it's going to send me to a window where I'm able to add additional student pairing codes from my other children. And I can click add student, and it should create you as an observer for that student as well. It will also tell you what students you are already observing. So that way you can see what students you may still need to observe or not. Okay. So again, that goes, you click the account button, go to observing, and then it pulls up that menu for you to enter the next pairing code. Okay, so a couple of the features on this left-hand side toolbar. Beneath account is your dashboard. This is where you're going to be able to see all of your students' courses. Each one of these squares represents a class that your student is taking. Okay, and if you have multiple children within the district, all of their classes are going to show up in this menu. We've had some questions about whether you're able to filter those out so you can just see one student's classes at a time. Unfortunately, at this time, there is no way to do that. So what we recommend doing is color coding the courses based on student. So maybe one student, all their courses are red. The other student, all their courses are blue. That way you can keep track and kind of divide it up and organize it in that way. To change the color on a course shell, what you want to do is click the three dots in the top right corner, and that's going to provide you with various different colors for you to click on. So you can choose a color, click apply, and it'll change the color for that course. Okay, and then you can continue to do that for all the other courses for that student so you can keep them all organized. Another thing you're going to see on the dashboard is on the right side here. You're able to see various assignments or quizzes that are coming up for your student within the next couple of days. All right, that provides you with the opportunity to kind of schedule out and make sure you're keeping track, or your student is keeping track of when those assignments need to be completed. Beneath the dashboard, you can move into courses. Okay, this is going to list all of the courses that are showing on your dashboard as a parent viewer. Now, some of the courses that are created are things like a student's lunch section, or maybe a homeroom section, or a study hall section. Most of those course shells aren't things that you're probably going to need to worry about. So there is a way to hide those courses if you choose to do so. If you click courses and go to all courses, all right, you're going to see the full list. Now, there's only 2 courses created in this test parent view, but you might have, 15, 16 different courses listed. All right. If you want them to show up, what you can do is click this to star it. All right. So all of the ones that are already showing up in parent view should be starred. Okay. If you want it to disappear from that dashboard menu, all right, maybe it's that homeroom section or that lunch section that you don't want to see, you can unstar that and it'll go away from the dashboard menu. Okay, so again, that's click courses, go to all courses, and then you can unstar any of the sections that you don't want listed in your dashboard view. Any questions so far about the left-hand side? Okay, so moving on beneath courses, we have the calendar. Calendar is a really useful feature because for every single one of your child's courses, you're going to be able to see when assignments are due day by day. Okay, so we see on the 27th of August, we had a how do you read assignment that is due. Okay, on the 28th, we actually have 3 different things that are due: introduce yourself, introduction lesson quiz, and the student information assignment. Okay, these assignments, all right, for the courses are color coded based on the course. So if you see on the right-hand side, we have different colors, all right? Blue for one course, purple for one course, and then a yellowish brown for another course, right? And if you want, you're able to change those colors of those courses as well by just clicking the 3 dots and selecting a course color to apply as well. So that can help you organize your students' courses as well. So I find that the calendar feature is especially important. Right now, if you're trying to look at things from your own parent view, you may not be able to see due dates like this simply because it's not set up in your notification settings. We will be running through some brief notification settings tips in a few moments here. So I like the calendar view a lot because it's got all of the due dates right there. It's really nice to plan out your week or your child's week for everything that they have. They also have access to this from their view as well. They're able to see what assignments are coming up week to week, so that way they can properly plan too. The bottom beneath calendar is the inbox. Okay, and you can actually see whenever a message comes in that's unread, a little number will pop up with how many relate to that. So if you click the inbox, you're able to see, all right, messages that were sent out from your teachers, all right, from your child's teachers. Okay, so that way they can see any messages. I've had students this year utilize the message feature to ask questions about assignments. Maybe let me know if a certain link isn't working, so that way I can try and troubleshoot that. So rather than contacting them through email, this is also another option that you can utilize in contacting the teachers. Okay, so any questions on any of the left side features here? Okay, so I'm going to go back to the dashboard and we're going to dive into a actual test course. So I'm going to click this first test course. And I'm going to show you what you're going to be able to see from the parent view. Okay, so the parent view, all of our courses are set up to open up on the course syllabus. So each teacher has a course syllabus or should have a course syllabus posted that has information related to their course, maybe some helpful links related to the Canvas Observer, Zoom guidelines, iPad usage, the help desk email, things of that nature. So if you have any questions about a specific course's outline or specific topics related to that course, the syllabus is always a really good spot to check. From there, I'm going to move to modules. So modules are how your teachers are likely organizing their courses. Okay, we like modules because you're able to set up the course in order and exactly how you want to present the information and teach the information throughout the year. So we'll see that this first module here is called Module 1. All right, sometimes your teacher may retitle the module to be the topic that they're covering within that module or the unit. Some teachers even set up their modules to go weekly. So they may even put the days for that week. All right, so that way you're able to properly schedule everything. And then beneath that, all right, will be every assignment, every lesson, every quiz that the student is required to complete. And we set these up so that they're able to just work right in order. So the first assignment would be student information. And then they would jump into the introduction lesson. And then the writer in training assignment. That's what this little symbol, the paper and the pencil, this is the assignment symbol. All right, the little chain symbol means it's an external tool. A lot of the lessons set up, especially within the Accelerate Education curriculum, are set up as external links. So you click those and it'll push you to that actual link. And then the little rocket ship is for quizzes. Okay, but modules is really great because you're able to just walk right through and work your way through, down through everything in the course. Next, I'm going to move to the grades. So beneath modules, we're able to see grades. Grades is, of course, a very useful tool so you can keep track of your child's progress. So from this page, you're able to see all of the assignments or quizzes that your child needs to complete. Okay, so we can see actually this how do you read assignment was due yesterday, and we can see that there was no submission for that. So that's why this is counting as missing. Okay, the assignment beneath that, introduce yourself, we can see is due today, and that there's a little PDF symbol there. That tells you that your child has turned in that assignment. Okay, and if it has been graded by your teacher, an actual score would show up there. This is just a test account, so we haven't graded any of the assignments, but once that assignment has been graded by your teacher, a score should show up right there. If you want to know exactly what sort of assignment your student submitted or the quality of work that they submitted, what you can do is if you see that a submission is there, if you click on the left side, actually click the assignment. So I'm going to click introduce yourself. You will see a little PDF file pops up and you will be able to click that and it will download. So that way you can open it up and take a look at the sort of work that your child has submitted. Okay, so I'm going to bump back out to grades. Any questions so far within this menu, going through modules, grades, or the syllabus? Okay, cool. One thing that I do want to touch on. So those are probably the three big things that you're going to want to focus on: the syllabus, the grades, and the modules. One feature that you guys unfortunately do not have access to at this time, and we're actively working on finding a way to get you guys access, is announcements. Okay. Now, every Monday, and this is a district requirement, every Monday morning, each of your teachers will be posting an announcement on their Canvas page so that students know what is expected of them to complete for that week. Okay. So students are able to see these announcements. You guys, unfortunately, as parent observers, are not able to see these announcements at this time. But there is a way for you to be notified when a new announcement has been posted. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. If you click Account and go to Notifications, the very first option here, Account, and then click Notifications, this window pops up, okay? And it looks a little overwhelming right now with all the different options and the different buttons. But a lot of these preferences are actually things that you probably won't even need to worry about. So at the very top of the page, beneath Notification Preferences, it gives you a little key as to what the four symbols are referring to. So the check mark is a notification preference that says when this thing happens, when this feature is triggered, I want to be notified right away. So it will push an email, all right, whatever the email address was that you used to create your parent account, it will push that notification to your email so you get notified right away. You can also get a daily summary sent to you towards the end of the day, a weekly summary at the end of the week, or if it's a notification that you don't care to be notified about, you can just click the X and say, do not send me anything. So you won't be notified of that feature. Okay. So for the announcements, if you want to be notified right away that your child has a new announcement that they need to check from their teacher, you can see the fifth one down says announcement. You want to click, all right, so you can click these around to select the option that you want. If you want that notification right away, you want to make sure that the green marker is highlighted over the check mark. Okay, that will send you an email directly right away as soon as that announcement is posted. If you're not so worried about getting notified right away, but you still want to know on that Monday, you can click the clock. That'll send you a daily summary. Okay, so this will be good for you to know the announcement has posted. Maybe I want to check in with my child, make sure that they're aware of the announcement and that it's been posted, and maybe set up a routine or just discuss, these are the assignments you need to complete for this week. Let's make sure we're planning out and setting up a proper pacing so that way we can get all those done for the week. Okay. For the calendar, okay, you can set up due dates, all right, and set up check marks as well for that to see due dates as well. Anytime a teacher posts a new file, all right, you can get notified of that. Personally, I probably wouldn't want to be notified every time a new file was uploaded, so I have that marked over the X. I would say for the notifications, the popular notifications you're going to want to worry about are everything under course activities. All right, so look through those, play around with it, figure out what notifications you're going to want to be informed about and which ones maybe you don't need to worry about. Anything below course activities, so we get into discussions, conversations, scheduling, groups, things like that. These are things that most of us don't utilize as teachers. I know I don't utilize them. I don't believe Mr. Shepler utilizes them either. So these are things you probably won't have to worry about. I would just focus on the course activities notifications up at the top. Any questions regarding the notifications? Okay. So I believe that is everything I have for Canvas as a parent view. Mr. Shepler, is there anything else? Oh, one thing I did forget. You will not be able to submit assignments or work from your account, okay? So you're not going to be able to submit assignments on your students' behalf from your account. You have to make sure that they're the ones submitting assignments from their account. And I know that's a question that a lot of people have had on how to access assignments and turn them into Canvas. That's something we're going to touch on in a few moments as well. Any questions regarding anything we just covered? Okay, so one thing I actually want to do is I want to show you guys what an announcement might look like. So I'm actually going to log out of the test page and I'm going to log into my own Canvas account. So you can see that my Canvas account looks very similar to the parent view. These are my course shells for all the different classes that I teach. I also have a to-do list on the right side of submissions that have been given from students that I need to grade, okay? Now, I'm going to go into a class. Let's say I'll go into my Algebra 1 course. So I'm going to go into Algebra 1. I'm going to click Announcements. We see this announcement feature. There are a lot of different features that you as a parent observer do not have access to. These are listed here. And with the eyeball here, what that means is that I have chosen to disable this feature so it is not visible to students. We like to do that, especially with assignments, because the way assignments are set up within that tab, it's very disorganized. They're not really ordered by the date that they should be completed by or anything like that. So students tend to get confused or they jump around a lot and aren't necessarily completing the assignments they need to be. So we hide that, so that way the only way they're able to navigate through their lessons and their assignments is through modules, okay? But I'm gonna go to announcements to show you what some of my announcements look like. So for example, this is the announcement, this bottom one here, August 24th to the 28th, is the announcement that I posted for this first week of school, Monday morning. So I posted it as a Word document. Some teachers will just post it and may type out in text with some detailed information on what they need to be doing, okay? So here is the announcement that I've posted, all right? I've posted for each day what we're planning to complete across that week. Okay, and this is exactly what your students will see when I send them an announcement as well. And if you've set up notifications to receive it, you will get word once I've posted this announcement. So that way you know, hey, this is something I should check in with my child on to make sure that they've seen this announcement as well. Okay, but again, every Monday, teachers are required, and this is district-wide, to post an announcement detailing what is going to be covered in class for that week, okay? Now, the look of the announcement may look different teacher to teacher, but that requirement to post the announcement is true for all teachers. Any questions on announcements? Okay. And again, going back when I was discussing Zoom, students will see this Zoom tab. They're able to click into this and they will see meetings that I have set up for them. But the way that I stress my students to access our meetings is actually through modules. So I'm going to go into modules. This is my module that I've set up for Algebra 1. So we have some start of the year items that I use to get to know the students before we jump into any sort of content. And then we can see as we move down, I have some headers that display what the different topics within the unit are going to be about. Okay. I am able to publish All right, so I can see everything I have added into my course. But what the students can see is just the things that I have chosen to publish. And I believe that you as a parent observer will only be able to see the things that I have chosen to publish. So that's why in a few moments, I'm going to show you guys what the student view looks like and navigate that a little bit. That's why you're going to find that they have less things within their modules than I do. Okay. But what your teachers do, and this is something I think we're trying to stress district-wide, something to do when scheduling the Zoom meetings, is we schedule the Zoom meeting as an assignment. So what we'll do is we'll give a title, maybe Zoom meeting, give the date that the meeting is to be on. And then when we create the meeting, when the teacher creates the meeting link, they post it within the text box here. Okay, so that way students are able to just locate that within their module. And when the time arrives for them to attend their meeting, they can just click that link and it'll take them to the necessary spot to be accepted into the meeting. We also make sure to set the due date for this assignment as the time for the meeting. All right, this is a really nice feature because that way, when we publish this assignment, it's going to show up in the child's calendar like a worksheet would or some other file that they have to complete or submit. That way they can see not only what assignments they have to do for that day, but also, oh, I have a Zoom meeting with my English teacher at 1:30. I need to make sure I'm ready and in attendance for that then. Any questions related to announcements or accessing the Zoom meetings as a student? Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to my iPad one last time. And I'm going to show you guys what the student view looks like, all right, from their iPad within Canvas. Okay, so here again is that test course I set up for my Algebra 2. So when I click into that, we can see, again, it opens right up to the syllabus. So they can see this is my syllabus for Algebra 2, has some helpful links and some other related information. So it always opens up directly to syllabus. They have access to the announcements that I've posted thus far in the year. And they're able to locate those. We have modules, okay, and you're able to see, again, just the things that I've chosen to publish. That's all that the students are able to see at this time. As the weeks progress and I publish other things, they'll be able to see those assignments and lessons as well. And you can even see up at the top here, Zoom meeting, August 27th, that link pops up for them to be able to go into that meeting when the desired time arrives. So I'm going to go back out to the home page. They can see grades. All right, they're able to see everything that they have to do within the coming days, assignments or homework assignments. One nice feature about grades is that when they have submitted an assignment, it will come up so you can see the review number 1 and review number 2 homework assignments. I did a test submission with these and you can see that those have been submitted, so they're marked with that green submission. It hasn't been graded yet. Actually, I did grade it, but it was a test student, so I just gave them a 0 out of 5. But when that is graded, you will have a score placed into that, and they will be able to see what their grade is as well on any of those things. Any questions so far on the student view, what your students are able to see from Canvas?
There's a question about if kids can see comments that are posted to them through the app. There's people saying that through the app, kids can.
So we're working on your question about being able to see comments students not being able to see comments through the iPad. That's something I haven't seen or played around with yet. So we'll work on that question and hopefully clarify for that with you guys. If not today, then within the coming days as well. Any other questions related to student view? Okay, so the last thing I want to show you guys, and I think this is a really important thing because especially for brand new Canvas users, especially if you have kids at the elementary school who have never used Canvas before, this is something brand new, how to access assignments from Canvas and then download those and complete them and then turn them back into Canvas for the submission. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So I'm going to go into my modules. I'm going to pick an assignment that I haven't used yet. I'm going to do the intro student survey. So that's an assignment I had students complete, just a little sheet for them to introduce themselves a little bit, tell me a little bit about themselves, what they do outside of school, things like that. Okay. So right at the top, it's going to tell you how many points the assignment is worth and whether you submitted it or not. It gives you the due date. It also tells you the submission types that are allowed. This is a very important thing to pay attention to. A lot of the times, if it's a PDF or a Word document that the teacher has assigned, they're going to say that the submission type allowed is a file upload. Okay, so you're going to want to make sure that you pay attention to the submission type. Other times, if maybe a teacher just wants a quick response or a short paragraph typed up, they may allow just a text box response for you to just type in, or your child to just type in their answer from there, and you don't have to do a file submission. But pay attention to that submission type. That's going to be important. You'll also be told, or the child will also be told how many attempts they're allowed on an assignment and how many they may have utilized already. Some teachers, especially if it's a writing assignment, they will post a rubric that goes along with the grading process for that assignment. So the student will be able to access that rubric and maybe make sure that they have followed all the steps within the rubric before actually submitting. And then finally, they'll give you a description. This is where any directions from the teacher regarding the assignment will be posted, along with, if it is a PDF or a Word document that they need to download, they'll post that here within the assignment as well. So I'm going to click on that link, the intro student survey.pdf. And what I want to do is I'm going to push that file out to an app called Notability, which is an app that you can, again, download and self-service if your child doesn't already have access to that, but they probably do. It's a blue background with a pencil in the foreground. Okay, so that's what you're going to look for if they already don't have that downloaded. You are able to notate this file directly from Canvas. If you see in the top right corner, you see that pen symbol in the middle between those three items. You are able to click that and work through and type text boxes and write on the file. But we find a lot of the times Canvas, when doing that, doesn't save the progress. So when they go to submit, a lot of the times their work isn't saved with their submission and it ends up coming up blank. So what we recommend you do is this top right symbol, this square with the arrow pointing up out of it. That's your share option or your export option. You're going to want to click that or have your child click that. And it comes up with all the different places that you're able to send this file to. Now we want to send it to Notability. So here's the logo for Notability. I'm going to click that. And it's going to bring up a series of options for me. So I can first off either add this to an existing file or create a brand new spot for it. I'm going to create a brand new spot for it. I'm able to rename the file type or the file title, excuse me, if I'd like to. Otherwise, I can just leave it as is. I'm able to post it within a specific subject. So right now it's in unfilled notes, but your students likely have different folders set up for their different classes. I have mine set up by chapter for the courses I teach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually post it in I'm going to send it to my tools of the trade folder. And then if you want to, you can even select which pages you want to upload into Notability. So if you don't want to import, or your child doesn't want to import every single file page, you can just select the ones that you want. I'm going to keep that on, and I'm going to import all the pages. Once you're satisfied with those, your note title, your subject, and the number of pages, you can click import in the top right. A message is going to come up telling you the file was sent. You can click done. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click out of this and go into my Notability app. Okay, so I'm in my tools of the trade folder on Notability, and we can see that file has popped up. So I'm going to click that file. And now there's a couple different options you can use to go about turning this in, all right, and completing it. First off, up at the top middle portion of the screen, you're going to see a couple of different button options. The one I am on right now is a pencil option. So you're able to go in and use that and just write things down, right? And you write it using your handwriting. So you can change colors if you'd like. You can fill it in. Just going to use squiggles. Okay, and you can fill that out. Another option you also have is the T that I've just highlighted is for text boxes. So if you'd like to, you can set up a text box and type into the file instead. They also have a highlighter feature, so you can highlight important information if you'd like to. An eraser, so that way if you make a mistake, you can feel free to erase it and reset that. There's also a cut and paste or a copy and paste feature that I like for some things, where you can just draw around whatever you'd like to copy or paste. It'll pull up that section. You can click copy, and then wherever you want to put that, if you just tap on that area of the screen and click paste image, it'll throw the copy that you've just made onto the screen. All right, and you can even move that around if you'd like to. All right, adjust it at all or organize it any better. So those are the features of Notability to be able to complete the assignment. So let's say we get the assignment done, we complete it, we want to go back in and turn it in and actually submit it back into Canvas, okay? What I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to show you guys two ways how to do this. Now, normally my top left of my screen, you're going to see next to the back arrow, you're going to see two rectangles that are kind of right in front of one of each other. That is normally where that share button is going to be, all right? That square with the arrow pointing up. Normally, that is where that button is going to be, but since I'm presenting and sharing my screen, it's showing this presenting feature instead. So if you want to share, you can click there and then follow the steps that I'm about to show you. I am going to go back, and another way you can pull up this share option is whatever file you want to turn in, take your finger and just hold it over the assignment for a second or two, and this menu is going to pop up, okay? And we can see again, that first option is share, that square with the arrow. So I'm going to click share. And this drop-down menu comes up and gives us all the different options we can send it to. Now we want to send it to Canvas, okay? Canvas is not currently an option, but that's okay, because when I click other apps, I'm going to click other apps. From there, the first thing I want to make sure I do is make sure the format is a PDF. Okay, when you're submitting a file, the different options that are available, a lot of those aren't able to be seen from the teacher. So when you're submitting a file, when your child's submitting a file, they want to make sure that the PDF option is selected for the format. Once that's done, you click Share Note. From there, it brings up all the options for where you can share it, just like when we took the assignment from Canvas into Notability. I want to send it to Canvas, so I'm going to click the Canvas student option, and this little window is going to pop up. From there, if I have any comments related to the assignment, maybe I teach math, maybe there was a specific problem a student wasn't sure how to do. They want to leave a comment and say, hey, I wasn't sure how to do number 5. Would you mind showing me how to do that? They can leave those comments related to their assignments in there. It should, when it brings up this menu, already have the course that the assignment is going to and the assignment actual turn-in spot that the assignment is going to go to already auto-filled. If it doesn't though, you can click the course, and sometimes you have to wait a second or two, but all the courses that your child is enrolled in Canvas should be listed there, and you can select the proper one. Again, this is just a test student, so I only have one of my courses listed. Also the assignment, if it's not on the right assignment, you can go in and click that. All of the possible spots that you can turn the assignment in that course will become available. And if it's not already on the correct assignment, you can go through and click and make sure that it is on the correct assignment. From there, all right, once you're ready to go, it's in the right course, it's in the right assignment, click submit, and it'll go in, okay, and it'll go through. So I'm going to go back to Student Canvas. All right, I just turned in the intro student survey as a student. I'm going to click that. All right, I'm going to click that assignment again. We can now see that assignment was successfully submitted, and it's now waiting to be graded. Okay, so when I click that assignment again in modules, I can see right away, hey, I already did that. It's submitted. I can move on to the next thing. If we bounce back to grades, we should also see, and maybe we have to update. Yep. So now we can see that the intro student survey was submitted, all right, from the grade view as well. Any questions on submitting the assignment that way? I am going to show one other way to do it, but any questions just initially on how to submit the assignment there, or pulling it off of Canvas into Notability? Okay. So the second way you can submit the assignment, I'm going to bounce back to Notability, all right, because I've already pulled the assignment in, I've already completed it. Sometimes the connection between Notability and Canvas, submitting it in the method that I just showed you, doesn't always work. Occasionally there's an error. I've had difficulties sometimes with some students not being able to submit things that method before. If that happens to your student, here's another way that they can submit it. Okay, so again, I'm going to hold this assignment down, and I'm going to click share. I'm going to go into other apps, just like before. I'm going to make sure it's a PDF. I'm going to click share note. This time, rather than clicking student and sending it to the Student Canvas app, I'm going to click save to files. Okay, I'm going to click save to files. And from here, I can choose where I want to save it to. Usually I choose to save it somewhere on my iPad. In the top right, if you'd like to add a folder for a specific subject on your student's iPad, you can click that and set up a new folder. For now, I'm just going to save it to the Pages folder within my iPad, and then I'm going to click Save. I have to replace it because I already did this one more time, so I'm going to replace. From there, that assignment has now been saved in that folder on my iPad. So from there, what I can do is go back in, and because I have multiple attempts allowed on this assignment, I can resubmit if I'd like. So I'm going to show you using the resubmission how to pull it from files. So I'm going to click resubmit, I'm going to click Files. And sometimes the files that you just used or just completed are already in that window. Other times you might get pushed back to this Browse menu. You just want to click On My iPad, and I know that I saved it in the Pages folder. So I'm going to click that, click Intro Student Survey, and click Submit. And you can see they throw a little party for us to let us know that the submission was successful. Okay, so that's another way that you can submit an assignment to Canvas by saving it to a file folder on your iPad, just in case sending it directly from Notability to Canvas isn't an option. Any questions on that method of turning in assignments, or anything on turning in assignments at all?
They want to know about submitting a photo and also typing responses. So photo would just be a little what we can tell that to the response. The response could have to be a text submission. They would just click.
So one question Mr. Shepard just shared with me was about sharing photos. That would work the same way as I just showed with the file. So if you'd like to, excuse me, if you would like to send in a picture, maybe your student wrote a response on paper and you want to send it in through that way. If you click camera, okay, your camera will come up and that will be accessed there. You will be able to take a picture of your child's assignment from there. And then from there, that picture will come up into this file option and you'll be able to submit it from there. If it's just a matter of sending in a text submission, all right, typing a response directly into the assignment, for that, you want to make sure that one of the submission types is text submission. Okay, if that's not one of the submission types, your child isn't going to be able to just type a response directly from the assignment and submit. One thing they could do is maybe open up a page in the Pages app on their iPad, or open up Notability and open up a new file and set up a text box there to type a response and then upload that file. But unless text submission is listed as a submission type option, you aren't going to be able to use a text submission. Any other questions? If you do have a question and you'd feel and you're comfortable with just unmuting yourself, you're welcome to do that as well. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for now. Jen Kaufman, I see you have a question, or you have your hand raised. If you'd like, I can unmute, or you can unmute yourself and respond with your question if you have one.
Yes, thank you. So I asked the question about submitting a photo and a text. My son had to take a picture of him doing a physical activity for gym and then type in 5 more activities, but I wasn't able to do the photo and the typing at the same time. That's kind of what I was asking.
Okay. For that, you might need to do multiple submissions. I don't use the text submission option too often within my assignments, but I know a lot of the time I leave my assignments so that multiple submissions are allowed in case a student accidentally submits too early or maybe misses a part of an assignment. So it may just come down to sending in the video or the photo first, and then after that, typing in the text submission.
Okay, I'll give that a try. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions related to anything we've just spoken about, anything that we've mentioned earlier in the training?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So our elementary school teacher is using links to external website.
Mm-hmm.
So she's linking to MathFacts or an external website. I'm not sure there's any way to clarify some of the issues we're having with that. But for example, today my elementary student had to record an audio reading example, and there was no way to confirm that she's receiving these submissions. So he recorded it,
Mm-hmm.
but there was no way to check it if it had recorded correctly. If he liked it, there was no way to play it back. But I think it's because it's an external website.
I see.
Is there any way to confirm or deny that Canvas has received the assignment that has been requested? The recording, the image. We had the same issue with Ed, so we have to write 5 activities and then upload a picture. Is there a way to confirm the receipt of any of that in Canvas?
Unfortunately, if it's through an external link, like you described, there's no way to check, like in the actual assignment where it gives you that message that it was submitted. I would say you'd probably have to contact the teacher and just to check to see, because they should be able to see if it's been submitted, because that would be something that they would need to grade. That might be a good idea, maybe these first couple weeks, just to make sure that we're all following the same steps and they are indeed getting everything. But to my knowledge, there is no way to check with external links, unfortunately.
I think that's the issue.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I know a lot of the external links that I'm using within my curriculum, the students are in a similar situation. They're not always able to see if something was submitted or completed. So they'll just send me an email and say, hey, I submitted this. Can you just check to make sure? And usually I'm able to go in and see that, yes, they did submit it. And I'll just send them a quick response back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Kristen Kisner, I see your question. Is the new curriculum streamlined or can it be? Yeah, is it the new curriculum streamlined or can it be adjusted for learning disabilities? That's a question that we're kind of all trying to work through right now. I would say that's probably more of an administrative question because that's something we're all trying to work through, is figuring out how we can take this curriculum and modify it for students with specific disabilities. But I would say neither of us really have any input on that. So I would just recommend contacting a special ed teacher, maybe the administrators within your building. Any other questions related to anything we've discussed today? One thing I do want to actually share that I just remembered, especially the last couple of days, I've had some students who have had trouble having things load on Canvas through the app. For whatever reason, maybe the connection's not great or Canvas is just having a bad day and it's timing out. Rather than sending an issue to the help desk or contacting your teacher, one usually easy fix you can do when that becomes an issue is to access Canvas through the web browser. So they have Safari as their web browser on the iPad. If you go in and type in that website, susquehanita.instructure.com, and they enter their student info, they're able to access their student account from the web browser. Usually that's a simple workaround. They're able to just access their work and everything loads just fine in the web browser instead. that is the end of my presentation. If anyone doesn't have any final questions, feel free to speak up if you do. Okay, well, that's where I will end things. Thank you all again for coming out today. I hope that this was fruitful for you and provided some insight on how to navigate Canvas and provided you with some tips on how to better support your child from home. Again, if you have any questions or you find yourself having questions, remember to check that SSD Tech Tips page or contact your teachers and they can provide you with some help as well. Thank you again, and I hope you all have a great day.